What's up, everyone? So you already know my view on the feds and the government in general, but the authoritarianism that we're seeing with governments around the world, in my opinion, is progressively getting worse and worse over time. Pavel Durov, who is 39 years old, he's a Franco-Russian founder and CEO of Telegram, was actually arrested on Saturday evening at like 8 p.m. when he stepped off his private jet at Le Bourget Airport in France. I probably totally mispronounced that. He's immediately detained by these people. Again, Durov, who was traveling with his bodyguard and a woman, had just arrived from another location. His arrest, in my opinion, wasn't just about some search warrant, though. It was actually about the state's fear of losing control in regards to things like Telegram, which, for those of you that don't know and live under a rock, is an encrypted messaging service that has been kind of a thorn in the side of law enforcement and government because, by and large, it kind of empowers individuals with privacy and secure communications. Not as much as overlay networks like Tor, mind you, but even so, it still gives people the ability to communicate in kind of a semi-private fashion, I would say. I'm personally not really a fan of Telegram at all, but I am a fan of anonymity, and we take what we can get, but I digress. For these authorities, Durov's real crime is providing a platform that doesn't bend to state surveillance and control. The French judicial system has accused him of being an accomplice to basically anything they could think of. There's a myriad of criminal offenses, and just a few of them were like drug trafficking and fraud charges that conveniently ignore the reality that tools like Telegram provide a neutral place for anyone, that anyone can use these free. Just because criminals might use encrypted messaging doesn't mean the creator of the platform is responsible for the ounce of cocaine that was sold last week. The narrative that's being pushed by the state is pretty clear. If you build something that allows people to communicate without governmental oversight, you're complicit in their actions, which is absolutely a super dangerous precedent to be setting. After his arrest, he was swiftly placed in the police custody by the ONAF, which is also known as the National Anti-Fraud Office, under the Customs Directorate. The speed and manner of his detention showed a premeditated attack on a figure who has long been a kind of a symbol of resistance against government outreach to some extent. So I guess it's really not shocking that this happened, but now he faces this list of charges that are designed to discredit him, including terrorism, narcotics, conspiracy, fraud, money laundering, and a ton of other charges that are far, far worse than that. In my opinion, it's not about trying to stop any criminality, but rather about setting an example. By going after him, the French authorities, and by extension, other governments watching closely, are sending a message to anyone who dares to create tools that prioritize individual privacy over the state's control. And what they're saying is, we're going to target you. This isn't just a case about him or Telegram. We're seeing people in the EU getting arrested for things like memes and stupid statements that are made online. And mind you, these statements aren't in the least calling for any type of criminality or violence of any kind. So the fact they're getting arrested for them is insane. Encrypted platforms like Telegram are lifelines for those who want to communicate without prying eyes of the state. Yet, by arresting him, the French government is attempting to equate the creation of such tools with criminality. It's tragic and straight out of the authoritarian playbook, in my opinion, to essentially demoralize those who challenge the status quo and turn them into villains to justify their persecution. If you've ever read 1984, we saw this in the confessions of the individuals that had been tortured already. It's kind of the same thing. It's in reverse and by taking place prior to prosecution rather than after it. And, it's done by the state And in 1984, the demonization was a self-demonization. It was done by the individual after torture. And in this case, it's done prior to prosecution, or in this case, probably persecution, to be able to give it a basis for that and taint whoever may be looking into it. So in many ways, like, Orwell actually missed the actual level of hell that there would be nowadays. The international implications are also kind of creepy. Like, a government can arrest the founder of an encrypted messaging service on such a flimsy pretense. Like, what does that actually say about the future of everyone else's privacy? How long before other governments follow suit and use similar justifications to crack down on those who write code and basically and maintain the tools of digital freedom? The arrest of Pavel Durov is more than just legal action. It's an authoritarian statement. It's a warning to anyone who dares to challenge the surveillance state. His real crime is that he provided a platform for free, private communication in a world where government's increasingly seeking to control every aspect of our daily lives. His arrest, in my humble opinion, marks a dark day for privacy advocates and serves as a reminder that the fight for digital freedom is far from over, if ever. And we're going through this now, battling encryption and stuff. EU's trying to make encryption basically illegal, and we were going through the same thing in the 90s here in the US. In general, the EU has been like really pushing to limit encryption with attempts to introduce things like legislation that would effectively ban end-to-end encryption, which we covered in another video. But this is a direct attack on the very tools that protect individual privacy and freedom online, and just information security in general. These actions absolutely collectively reflect an alarming shift and move towards authoritarianism, especially in Europe, where the state prioritizes surveillance and control over individual freedoms. And I'll absolutely put privacy into the category of a human right. And in that context, they're violating human rights. His arrest is, to me, it's emblematic of a growing trend, targeting those who dare to provide the public with means to communicate privately and securely. And we have this in the US too. I'm not saying this is strictly an EU problem. We absolutely had NSA spying and all the craziness that exists here. In my opinion, this kind of thing should be an automatic red alert for those developers out there who work on privacy tools to consider, like switching up and maybe doing your development from an anonymous account that has good OPSEC and no connection to you. It's just not a good thing, in my opinion. We also saw more movement with US DoD as far as information coming out, and I've been kind of revisiting the information that I want to present because things have developed. Maybe more on that at some point, but it was just really disappointing to see this guy end up getting arrested. Any case, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.